What's up, everybody? I'm Johnny from WMF Animal Spotlight, and you're watching Zoo Tours on YouTube.
What you're about to watch is part 2 of this mini-series that covers what I see as some of the most overlooked attractions and creatures at Disney's Animal Kingdom. But before we do anything, if you are new, I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button to officially become part of this tour group, or hit the join button to be able to vote on what we see next. Then I want all of you to tell us below, if you could carve one animal in the Tree of Life, even if it's already there, what would it be? In part 1, in case you're behind, here is a card in the corner and you can go watch it right now. We took a look around their Oasis attraction, a tropical trail with waterfalls, positively bizarre wildlife, and a serene environment. Not only do I love this area because it's a peaceful way to start your day at Animal Kingdom, you're not exactly given a grand view right out of the gate, like the ones that you would find at Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and other Disney parks. So the Oasis is like having to work your way through the jungle to get to this. Animal Kingdom's version of Main Street that kicks off this Discovery Island realm. And in my exaggerated opinion, a walk and a view that's worth the admission alone. You can stop by the Wilderness Explorers headquarters where guests can pick up a free field guide and begin their journey to earn badges throughout the day. There are several dining options and themed shops where I ended up getting this pin, along with many others throughout these past 2 years. The Raymond one is my favorite, in case you were wondering. Scattered throughout this realm and other Disney parks are 36 commissioned golden statues as part of the resort's 50th anniversary. And if you wave your magic band in front of them like this, if you see a line like this one, they're just here to get a professional family photo set in front of the Tree of Life. I would show you ours, but the photographer didn't listen to our request when I said make sure we weren't posing with our double chins. And lastly, even though I have seen her in other parts of the park, more often than not, this is where I usually find their snipe, an incredibly rare bird from Venezuela. Kevin here is 13 feet tall, but she's incredibly agile, fast, and somehow can fly if she felt like it. She loves chocolate, and despite her silly personality, she also seems to be very intelligent and can even understand human speech. Before we talk about the heart of this Animal Kingdom, I want to introduce you all to the animals that live around the Tree of Life and make this place truly wild. And to do that, we are going to take a right towards a small island. So in a way, its residents should feel right at home. There's over 100 species of lemurs, all naturally native to Madagascar. Each has its own unique shape, size, and personality. And even though the Discovery Island only has 2 kinds, you can see just how diverse in color they can be. Ring-tailed lemurs get their name from, well, you can see. Collared brown lemurs get their name from the lighter color of fur around their neck. That kind of looks like a collar. I could talk about lemurs all day, and I see them in just about every zoo I go to. But now I can finally talk about this one pose that they're so famous for doing. You've probably seen lemurs sitting like they are meditating, but they're not chasing inner peace. They're just a little cold. Lemurs, especially ringtails, sit upright with their arms out and bellies exposed to soak up the morning sun, and that pose lets them absorb heat through one of the least furry parts of their body. Had I ever bothered to actually see it, right now I'd be talking about my experience with It's Tough to Be a Bug, located under the Tree of Life. But as many of you know, it had its last performance on March 17th, 2025, to make way for a new Zootopia-themed show expected to open near the end of 2025. Instead, I want to briefly point out somewhere around here, where you can pay a visit to a critically endangered Asian forest tortoise. Scientists often describe them as primitive, which in this case means they have physical characteristics and behave like early tortoises that lived millions of years ago. At this point, you can also explore the trail that leads up to the Tree of Life and eventually loop around this section. But since I want to save it for near the end of this episode, we're going to backtrack towards the front. It may not look like it at first, but there's actually an exhibit in the foreground of this tree, and a fairly diverse one too. you might find a white stork, Lappet-faced vultures, and kangaroos. Now over here reveals there's another layer to this area. In front of the roos is one of my all-time favorite birds. According to DisneyParksBlog.com, this flock of lesser flamingos has been building nests every year since 2003, but breeding success pales in comparison to their greater cousins that live in Kilimanjaro safaris, who have bred dozens of chicks. The lesser flamingos produced one before 2022. To improve nesting success, Disney's animal care team collaborated with a team at Disney's own ESPN Worldwide of Sports complex to incorporate baseball clay into the flamingos' nesting area. And this innovative approach not only led to the construction of better nests, but resulted in 7 eggs and the hatching of a chick named Sandy. Once again, going more towards the left side of the tree is the only individual habitat in the Discovery Island that has its own name. It's called the Otter Grotto, and understandably, it's this attraction's most popular area. If moments like these don't get some kind of version of "aw" out of you, then I don't know what will. They have the biggest effect on visitors, but are also one of the smallest residents in this animal kingdom. Like other otters, they are still carnivores, and those tiny paws play a very big role when they hunt. Webbed hind feet help them dive quickly in water, while their partially webbed front feet act like hands, so they can forage and grab food like crustaceans, frogs, fish, and more. At Discovery Island, flamingos aren't the only ones boosting their numbers. 3 pups were born in December of 2024, their first otter baby since 2018. I was wondering where they were, but turns out I visited a couple of months too late to see them for myself, and Disney announced in April of 2025 that Butternut, Biscuit, and Potato officially made their debut. As a reminder, this video was made to show some of Animal Kingdom's lesser known animals. I actually found an article titled "Animals You May Not Have Spotted at Disney's Animal Kingdom," and it mostly mentions species in the Oasis and Discovery Island, including one overlooked resident that lives in a pond right next to the otters, and my favorite Disney resident, Bruce the Paroon Shark, native to 2 rivers in Southeast Asia. Don't be fooled by the name, he's actually a massive catfish that sort of looks and moves like a shark. Some researchers say they typically grow to be nearly 6 feet and over 650 pounds in the wild. Paroon sharks are critically endangered from overfishing, and their sign at Disney even suggests ways that you can help this catfish and other fish by making sure the seafood that you order is sustainably sourced. In between Bruce and the otters is a sign that reads the Tree of Life Garden, an invitation to continue your journey through this trail. You're gonna want to go even further left on the main path and then make a right before you reach the bridge to Africa. If there's a crowd by the otters, then there's definitely going to be another one over here. Perhaps Discovery Island's second most popular animal lives in the rainforest of southwest Colombia. A squirrel-sized primate with a wild hairdo that runs through the treetops like it's their job. Cotton-top tamarins are social survivors and really depend on their families. Everyone plays some sort of role. Some act as lookouts with their excellent eyesight, and others sound the alarm when danger shows up. Cotton-tops have one of the most complex chatter systems in the monkey world, with 38 known unique chirps, shrills, and squeaks. And over the last couple of years, their vocal harmonies have been getting louder and louder. According to several sources, Disney hadn't had a cotton-top tamarin born since 2001. But if my math is correct, 8. 1 set of twins and 2 sets of triplets have been born since 2023. And don't be surprised if that number grows even more very soon. Okay, now that we are the furthest we can be on the left side, we can now explore the trail, which gives you several views of the Discovery River that actually circles and encloses this entire Discovery Island. If you turn around, you should find a pair of Abdim storks, filling in a space that was once home to African-crested porcupines. The 2 recently flocked over here from Dinoland, USA, while the land is being converted into tropical Americas, although I don't see this pair returning to their old area, since they are native to Yemen and many parts of Africa. And then we have our last habitat on the tour. But not the last animals. This one is home to Galapagos giant tortoises. I have a complicated relationship with this group. Looks like they might have some complications of their own. Anyways, I say that because I always visit too early in the year to see them, and I'm very grateful that Johnny was able to provide us with some of this footage. But what's funny is I never missed the Asian tortoise on the other side of the tree. That's because they can tolerate temps as low as 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Their distant, much larger cousins are not cold tolerant, and prefer it to be at least 80 degrees before they even consider stepping a foot outside here in Orlando. And now, I can finally talk about the park's icon, standing 145 feet tall and 50 feet wide at the base. This entirely man-made structure took Imagineers 18 months to complete. It was built around an oil rig, specifically chosen for its strength and ability to withstand hurricane-force winds. It was designed to resemble a baobab tree, which in many cultures symbolizes life, strength, and community, perfect for a park dedicated to the natural world. The canopy is made up of over 8,000 branches and more than 100,000 individually placed synthetic leaves, and those were designed using a special blend of plastics that can handle the Florida heat and resist fading over time. Baobabs have a thick trunk and umbrella-shaped canopy, which also makes them the ideal model for carving hundreds of animals not just on the trunk, but on the branches and even the roots. There's over 337 animals, everything from rhinos to rutting antelope to lobsters and even extinct creatures, blending seamlessly into one another like a giant leafy collage of wildlife. And though it appears that I missed it, somewhere near the base is a sculpture of David Greybeard, one of the most notable chimpanzees in Jane Goodall's observations. He was added after she personally visited the park and asked if there were any chimps on this tree. And if you look closely, sometimes not everything that you find on this tree is a sculpture. What you're looking for is a blue and gold macaw in the canopy. Now they're not lost. They are actually part of one of the most magical events at Disney. At least 3 times a day, Discovery Island plays host to the Winged Encounters, a huge kaleidoscope of macaws from 6 species that soar over our heads and land right here, most of the time. When this 10-minute presentation is over, they're called back to their home base that's about a half-mile away, but some do linger in random places around Animal Kingdom. I was told that some of them also make their way to Epcot and even SeaWorld, which is 10 miles away. Avian experts are there to accompany the birds, sharing insights about their habitats and the challenges that they face in the wild, such as habitat loss and the illegal pet trade. It's a brief yet powerful encounter that blurs the lines between art and life, reminding us that you can help make a difference for these endangered birds, other endangered species around the park, and even local wildlife you might encounter every day. And that will wrap up this quick 2-part series on Disney's Animal Kingdom's Oasis and Discovery Island attractions, where a massive tree is alive in other ways. And for many, it's easy to think of these as quick pass-through areas. I would know from experience, I live with someone with this mindset, but if you slow down and look around, you can really appreciate everything that Animal Kingdom has to offer, and maybe, just maybe, you can prove to Disney experts online that this isn't just a half-day park. So, please stay tuned for our next adventure. Thank you for watching, stay wild, and remember to have a magical day.